Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode number 79. As you know already, the Knicks barely beat Atlanta Hawks, but you know what? Just like I don't believe in moral victories, I don't believe in bad wins. So we won the game, and that's all that really matters. You know, these other teams have pride and want to win as well. But what I saw last night, that actually there was times I was watching the game and I was saying to myself, this is what I'm talking about. Movement, ball movement without the ball, screens and, just real basketball. It's crazy is that I never thought that I would ever, now I kind of understand. It took me a while, but I understand with Larry Brown. As much as people might hate him, he's a legendary coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. And Larry Brown is right when he's talking about playing the right way. Playing for each other. Playing as a team. And it's so crazy is, how can I put this? I don't want to blame another man. See, I'm not the type that believes in, this guy has to lead y'all. Or when you're a grown man, you lead your damn self. Don't get me wrong, every team and every company, there's always a leader, a captain, things like that. I get that, but I'm talking about regular mundane shit. Lead yourself. You're a grown man. You know what I'm saying? Nobody feeding you food. What the fuck? Anyway, the reason why I'm saying that is because, I was hearing that with Carmelo when it came to Kristaps, right? But I'm seeing something in Kristaps, and I'm not going to say maybe he's watched Carmelo do it, and maybe he thinks he should do it, or, all right, what I'm talking about is hero ball. And, that's another phrase I hate to use, but it's easy. Everybody understands it. And we all know that Melo, see, I don't really believe that Melo played hero ball. I believe that Melo always, they call it hero ball, but Melo always believes he's the best option on the court. So, if that's the case, he's playing hero ball the whole game. The whole game he's playing hero ball. That's how he balls. That's how he plays. So, that's Carmelo for you. So, I'm noticing Kristaps is doing that. I noticed that Kristaps is doing that. And I don't know if it's Melo's influence. One thing I'd say about hero ball or playing like that, players who usually do that are not usually doing it just for the numbers. They're doing it to win the game. And they believe in their heart, like KP believes, that he is the Knicks' best option. And that's probably why he's doing that. But I want to see less of it until he's able. See, the difference between him and Melo is Melo has a go-to moves, many go-to moves, and Kristaps doesn't really have a go-to move yet. He's going to have to develop it. Like Kareem, he had that sky hook. Kareem had that. That was his go-to. That wasn't his only shot. He dunked the ball. He laid the ball up. But he had that sky hook. And when he got you and he got you on his back, he threw up that sky hook. There was nothing you could do. Jordan had that back down, turn around, jump shot. You couldn't do nothing against that. Most really good offensive players have a go-to. Dirk had that fadeaway that you never know. I've never seen it blocked. So he's going to work on a go-to. He's going to work on that. That's going to come again. And when that comes, that's another thing that'll make him even more unstoppable. But I'll tell you this. I don't know if the teammates are yelling out, double team. What Kristaps is learning, and he's going to learn, is he needs to recognize where the double team is coming from. People always said that Melo held the ball. But one thing Melo always said is that he looks for the double team. So when Melo gets the ball doing all of that, he's waiting for the double team. Because then it lets him know he needs to go left, he needs to go right. And that comes from years of being the number one option. And I think sometimes, because once you put the ball on the ground, the double team, especially Kristaps, because he's tall and they can steal it from him. Once he puts the ball on the ground, the double team's coming running. They running at him. So if he would just take a second, put the ball above his head, wait for the double team, he probably can find an open teammate, because they have no choice. Just 1-2 seconds. I'm not saying hold the ball for 5 seconds, just 1 or 2 seconds, little jab step or something like that. And when you do that, sometimes the defense has to react, or sometimes they freeze, they don't know what to do, and then you can make your move. It's important that he either stymies the double team or recognizes where the double team is coming from. Not score through the double team, but recognize where it's coming from. He can go the other way, or he can make a pass to where the double team came from. And that's going to develop in time. Actually, it would be nice if one of the point guards or Jarret Jack would explain that to him. Like, listen, you're going to get double teamed from your left side, your right side, things like that. And another thing I noticed that the Knicks players do is the spacing sometimes is off. If Kristaps got the ball and your man is trying to double team him, you need to move away from Kristaps. That man needs to come with you, especially if you're decent at shooting threes. Move over. So what? You might get close to the other man. The ball is in Kristaps' hands. He needs space to operate. And the only way he's going to have space to operate is if you move the fuck away, and your man is going to have to follow you. He's going to have to follow you. I mean, that's basketball 1-on-1. Everybody knows that. Either you cut or you move over so it's not enough room for the guy to guard you and guard Kristaps. And I noticed that a lot with the Knicks, with their spacing, is that there'll be a guy at the top of the key or top of the three-point line, and they'll give Kristaps the ball at the elbow, and they won't move. So you know what that happens is now two defenders can jump off of like, say, Ntilikina. I'm not saying it was him, but just can jump off of him and get close to Kristaps and still recover in time if he passes it to you. You're not allowing him room to operate. So I hope that they look in the film, and I mean, I don't think you need film. I saw it right away. Maybe because I played point guard, but you always got to give the scorer room to operate. If he's one-on-one in the post with somebody, he should not be able to be double teamed. And speaking of the triangle, that's one of the principles of the triangle. If you ever notice, of the triangle, you'll have everybody on the other side, the strong side of the court, and you'll have the offensive player with the ball on the weak side. It'll be just the offensive player and his man on the island. And then you have the players who cut to the rim or come around for the three-point shot. That's a staple of the triangle, folks. That's actually a staple of offensive basketball. Everybody move to one side of the court and let him operate. Kristaps keeps getting the ball stolen from him because his man is too close to him. His teammate is too close to him, and it allows the other teammate to jump on and get close and make a steal. So that's just something the teammates can help him with while he adjusts to basically all the defensive pressure that he's going to get. Another thing about Kristaps, I love how he bounced back. I love how Jarret Jack bounced back. Jarret Jack said, look, I'm turning back the clock. A lot of people don't remember Jarret Jack could score that ball. And his mid-range jump shot is lethal. But I think that Jarret Jack has been he's been really a consummate point guard more than throughout his career. He's always been more of a scoring point, but he's really playing the role of the elder statesman. But realizing that he played like shit the night before, he's like, you know what? I'm going to come in here and ball out. And I like it. And there was another thing. I saw at one point they had Ron Baker, and I'm going to talk about him in a second, Ntilikina, and Jack in the lineup. I have no problem with that lineup. However, one thing I don't like that Ntilikina does, that's why I like Ntilikina on the ball, with the ball in his hands. Because the ball's not in his hands, he just stands over there, and he's an afterthought, which he is a decent three-point shooter. He doesn't even touch the ball. He's a point guard. You could tell. Because he's just standing there off the ball. He's not cutting. He's not doing anything. But one thing I was happy about, now I'm going to talk about Ron Baker really quick. One thing I was happy about with Ron Baker is that Ron Baker, Hornacek put him in his rightful position, which is shooting guard. He should not be trying to make a point guard out of Ron Baker. Ron Baker is not a point guard. His handles are not tight enough for a point guard. But guess what? He's a very good playmaking 2. Don't mix up playmaking 2 as point guard. The difference is playmaking 2 doesn't handle the ball as much as the point guard. He doesn't have the same usage rate most of the time. And a playmaking 2 guard just gives you an extra passer on the court, which you can use. And it frees Ron Baker up to score. And he's always been a scorer, even from college. And he's not the kind of scorer you think he is. He's not a three-point shooter. He's not. He can shoot the 3, but he's more of a, he goes to the rack. He goes to the, he's an inside player. The boy, he's not a little boy. He's a big boy. He's 6'4", 220. You know, that's why he's, but I'm going to tell you what I have mentioned about Ron Baker and why the Knicks need him. I'm not going to talk about his contract because I'm going to talk about that man's money. But Ron Baker, the candlestick maker, I just had to say that shit. I just had to say that. Ron Baker brings that grit what the Knicks were missing. And when you have Cantor who brings the grit, and you have Baker who brings the grit, first of all, Baker will always get offensive fouls on other team, on other players. They're going to get mad and throw their elbows, and trust me, he got a broken nose coming to him. He's going to get hit because he gets up in your grill. And the offensive players don't like that. It's not that he's doing anything wrong. They just don't like when the player's up on him like that. Good defensive players always get into physical altercations because, or not physical, but they always get into little tussles with the offensive players because they're making it hard for them. It's always been that way. And then, you know, you can be a little physical if you know when to do it. You know when to bump him, or when to, and one thing about Ron Baker, maybe we should call him Mr. Fundamental, because he is fundamentally sound. He plays for his teammates. He has intangibles. If he was on 2K, his intangibles would be 99. You know why? Those times the ball was up in the air, and what did he do? He said, I don't need to get the rebound. I'm going to box out so my teammate can get the rebound. One thing you don't see in the NBA is boxing out as much. Cantor's a master at boxing out. That's why he gets a lot of rebounds. So is David Lee. That's why he gets a lot of rebounds. You box out. You don't always get the rebound, but sometimes you do. But at least your teammate can get the rebound. And I saw Baker boxing out a center just so his man can get the rebound. A guard can box out a center because the center will have to go over him, and then that's a foul. So things like that. I saw the pressure that Ron Baker put on the other team. And I'm going to be honest with you. Having Ron Baker and Ntilikina in the backcourt, that's a nice defensive duo. I'm not advocating for anybody starting. I'm just saying that's a nice defensive duo, maybe off the bench for now. And like I said, you see Ntilikina's confidence growing. You see him getting comfortable. Like I said, with him, it never was just getting comfortable with playing basketball. It's getting comfortable with America. Getting comfortable on the stage that he's on. He's 19. I'm going to repeat this until people understand. He's 19. And playing in the best league in the world. So for people who say, well, what about American ball players who go out to other countries and ball out? Well, those players aren't as good as the NBA players. It's just facts. So he's 19, so it's a lot he has to get used to. That's why I figured by the second half of the season, somewhere near in the second half, he's going to take over for Jarret Jack, and you see it. You see it slowly but surely. He's getting a little bit more time when he's playing well. Coach is leaving him out there. You know, but Jarret Jack, honestly, he left him out there. Ntilikina stayed out there because he was playing so well. But the funny thing is, Jarret Jack was playing so well, so he had to bring Jarret Jack back in. But, you know, I got to say, I was impressed with Ron Baker last night. I was really impressed with Ron Baker last night. And I forgot. I forgot. I forgot about the grit that he brings to the team. And the hustle. That shit is contagious. Unless you're an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're an asshole, don't play for your team. Actually, you know another player who used to play all out like that? Allen Iverson. That's why his teammates didn't mind him taking all the shots, because Allen Iverson played all out for his teammates. That's how he played. So, teammates love that. And it makes other players play hard. So, kudos to Ron Baker. I've been wondering when it's funny thing, I was just about to say, where is Ron Baker? I hope that you can stay healthy. He's probably a player that have a lot of nicks and injuries because of his style of play. But again, I hope he can stay healthy. He's a welcome addition. Just imagine this. When Hardaway comes back, you have Hardaway in the starting lineup, and then you got Baker coming off the bench. You know, that's a defensive improvement. There's no way around that. But it's an offensive deficit a little bit, but still, it's really good to have him. And I would not be true to the game if I didn't talk about Cool Bees. Cool Michael Beasley. He's trying to play defense. He just doesn't understand how. So he fouls out in 9 minutes. Hey, look, I'm not mad. I never get mad at a man that's trying. They say never criticize a fat woman when she's finally going to the gym, and that's no disrespect. What I mean is, you don't criticize someone when they're trying. You know, so I'm not, it just was funny, you know. He was trying to do his thing, and he was struggling a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate his effort. We won the game. We lost the game. I might be on like, what the fuck was Michael? What was he doing? But we won the game, so that's that. So it's finally it's finally nice to get off the snide and win a game. We don't gotta cry today. We don't have to be upset. And I want to respond. I can't do it in this podcast, and I will do it. I may have like a podcast somewhere there the next day or two to talk about rebuilding and tanking. I've already expressed my feelings on this, but I got a comment in the comment section, and I will mention your name right now. You know, it's just off the head right now, but I'll just leave you this tidbit when it comes to tanking. Everybody who says that to me, either they're playing 2K or they don't understand basketball, they don't understand how it's done. And I'll just say these quick things, and I will get in more depth in my next podcast, but I'll just say this really quickly. Did the Celtics tank to get where they were? Did the Spurs tank? Last time I recall, I think Kawhi Leonard was like 13, 14 pick, maybe 17 pick. I'm not really sure. And they had Tim Duncan. If you want to say they tanked 1 year for him, okay. Did Cleveland tank? They signed LeBron. Did Golden State tank? No, they just was a bad team, and Curry's not a number one pick. Klay Thompson's not a number one pick. There's various ways to build your team, but I believe in building through the draft and through free agency and through smart decisions. The draft that people need to talk about is you need a GM draft. You need a front office draft. The best front offices, they always going to end up on top because they can find a gem in the second round. So all that tanking shit, it's more negativity to it that I would like to get into. I can't do it at this moment, but I will in my next podcast. So I just want to leave with those tidbits. The top teams in the NBA didn't tank. Literally. The top teams in the NBA, Houston Rockets, they didn't tank. They made a trade and got James Harden, even though he was kind of given to them, but they still didn't tank. Anyway, I digress on that. I will get into that in my next podcast. It's been real. Life, culture, sports. Oh, God. I took it back. Knicks home court. I'm your host. My name is Greg Armstrong, number 6.